welcome everybody to the Edge Mastermind call. My name is Courtney Moses, and I'll be facilitating the call today. I got thinking about the first time that I made the decision to commit to build this business. And in the beginning, when you make that decision, you're just filled with this hope and this excitement, and you're inspired by, the opportunity and other people in doTERRA and the things they've accomplished, even the possibility of the life that you dream of and what you yearn for. And so there's just so much going on in the beginning that just continues to motivate you and excite you about the journey that you're about to embark on. And then somewhere along the journey, you start to experience some frustration, right? You start to experience some setbacks. And what, we've seen, just kind of history, is that if you don't have equal or greater moments that motivate and inspire or encourage you, that it's difficult to keep going. And so as leaders, all of us on this call, as we're trying to build our business, it's important for us to figure out, what to do to inspire and motivate not only ourselves, but our teams, and to keep everyone going. And so that's kind of what we want to discuss today on the call. And hopefully by the end of it, we'll have a bunch of great ideas of what we can do to continue to support and encourage and motivate our team. So the first question I just want to throw out there to the mastermind then is, what do you do to inspire or motivate or encourage your team? So if you have any comments on this, you can hit star by star to raise your hand and get you unmuted. Or if you're already unmuted, go ahead and speak up. So what are some things that you do that motivate or inspire or encourage your team?
All right, so Courtney.
Yeah.
So isn't this the question of the century? I mean,
right?
I mean,
I think if we all knew the exact answers to this, then we wouldn't even have to discuss it, right? And we would never have anyone on our team ever quit or get frustrated.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, one of the things that actually has helped motivate and inspire my team is every time I hit a large rank. So, when you hit, even when you hit silver, as you hit those ranks and you continually progress through the ranks, then it starts to inspire the people underneath of you that they can do it as well. And now it's kind of one of those really frustrating things, because you're sitting here thinking, well, if everybody was just really inspired and motivated and engaged, then I'd hit the ranks.
The ledge, right?
I know. So you're like, if everybody just got their act together and were more inspired, then I would hit ranks, which would inspire them more. Which frankly, I think is why hitting ranks is so inspiring to others, is because many times people, the people, like when you hit diamond, you had 4 people hit silver. And if you have a relationship with them that they are just as excited for your success as you are, then what happens is that they feel like they had a part in that, and they can, what I mean? And so I guess the first piece of advice is to hit rank and to have the kind of relationship with your team that they are just as excited for you to hit rank as you are. And you know what I mean? And
right.
like because in the beginning, for you to hit silver, for example, you need to have 3 people hit elite. Well, being an elite in the company, it's not like that's going to make a big difference to you financially. You'll make a $200 to $500 a month in there, depending on how big your team is. But I mean, so it's not like you're going to be killing it. It's not, you know what I mean? And so,
right.
So sometimes you have to do it because of your, I don't know, just, the person who's motivated to hit elite so that their leader can hit silver, that kind of selflessness takes them a long, long way.
Right. What's interesting about this too is that, I've had conversations with people before that are maybe further down on my team, And I think this is really important what you're bringing up, because I think sometimes we rely so heavy on people far above us, right? Like, well, it's not like these people don't have a diamond leader or a blue diamond leader, but how close is that leader to you? And I think that makes a big difference, right? Because it kind of helps you feel like you were a part of it, right? And so you can't just rely on, well, 3 people up is a diamond, so isn't that enough to inspire my team? Like, isn't it okay that I don't advance ranks, right? And sometimes I even feel that, like, the opposite way. Like, I have blue diamonds underneath me, and I'm not a blue diamond, So I think, oh, well, this way they don't need me to advance. It's not going to inspire them. They already have a blue diamond there. And really, it's wrong. Like, everyone needs everyone to work together, because they'll feel that. And the closer you are to somebody that's a larger rank, the more inspiring it is, because that means it's that much closer within your grasp of doing it, right? Rather than, there's a blue diamond or a presidential diamond that's 10 levels up. That's not as inspiring as if they were 1 or 2 levels or your direct upline,
So,
does that make sense?
It does. So look, I'm going to answer your question with a question. And that is, okay, so I'm talking to you in the beginning. This is before I'm making any money. I'm probably a duct tape silver or something. I'm making enough money. I mean, a little bit, but it's not like I'm, killing it. What inspired you? You know what I mean? Like, what motivated and inspired you?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, at that time, all I wanted to do was silver. I just wanted $1,000 a month. That was inspiring to me.
Right.
And then it was that hope and excitement of, the difference that could make in my life, and that the life that I was dreaming for and hoping for, that I thought $1,000 would fix.
Yeah. Hey, Mary Sisti has a comment.
I mean, it kind of starts with something that simple. You know what I mean?
Yes. So Mary Sisti has a comment.
Yeah, I have a major comment. The reason why I even kept going in this business. Not just my why. My why was the way it fueled the gas. So the way I kept going was Desiree, my direct upline. Desiree Alarnto has been the best mentor for my mental health. We had multiple meetings on the phone. At one point, it was actually once a day, and then once I became more confident in my capabilities, then it was once a week, maybe once a month. We're friends from the get-go anyway, so we speak to each other all the time. But for business purposes, I was constantly talking to them and getting mentored. But the main thing that kept me going was the fact that they recognized my gifts. And they knew.
I'm sorry, what was that last part? I can't hear you. Did they never what?
They recognized my gifts.
Oh.
They saw something in me that I didn't even have and recognize myself in the beginning. Now that I know that I am this person, it's easier for me to keep going forward, even though the road's tough. But because they recognize that gift inside of me, I realize how important and valuable it is to do that for other people. And I'm not candy coating anything. I don't tell people, oh, you're great at this, or this is happening because of this, for example. I don't want to get specific, but I don't want to candy coat things, but I do recognize people's gifts. I see it when they don't. And I think that's a major important factor. And then also continuing to communicate with them, especially in the beginning, they're going to be needing you a lot more, just to talk to you about what's going on with themselves mentally, where are they at, and also what's happening with classes, trainings, etc. And so what I do for my team is I hold monthly events to keep the synergy going, and also at least big major events every quarter. So I'm saying like every 3 months in a calendar year, I'm holding a major event. So next month, my upline is flying in, and we're holding a DIY event and beginning training sessions and a room attached, like things like that need to come every once in a while to keep people together. And I think if we hold that every quarter, you would find a lot more momentum and a lot of team synergy across the board. I mean, I have legs just talking to each other naturally, coming together and forming friendships and bonds. That we're not divided, it's all one underneath me. So that's my take on it.
Okay, so you brought up some fantastic points here, and let's kind of dissect some of these, and anyone else that wants to chime in here too. But you brought up mentoring and then recognizing the gifts and talents of people on your team and then events. So let's look at each of these, briefly here, or however long you need to spend on them. But mentoring, so that inspired you, it motivated you. Why? What was happening on those mentoring calls?
Are you talking to me?
Yep.
Again, or are you hoping it for more people?
No, this is for you, Mary.
Anyone else that wants to join in, but you specifically.
Okay, I'll start. So it really does vary. In the beginning, it was, how do I build and how do I find the right people? All of those beginning stages questions that are healthy and good, but also can be frustrating if you're on your own. But then once it was more of like a rank of elite and silver. It was saying, it was more questions of, how can I become a leader and how can I lead this team into becoming greater and how can I show people their gifts when I don't even see mine? Little like that. The more you rank up, the more, I believe, the more difficult and valuable the questions are.
Hey,
right.
Courtney, do you care if I ask Mary some questions on that?
Either way, I was mentored every step of the way. So kudos to the Limestone Desiree. And so that's what I kind of wanted to do for other people. Once I saw that coming for me, then I want to do that for other people.
Great. Sorry, Steph, what was that?
Would you care if I asked Mary some questions on this? Because she's got me curious.
I know, my mind's going a million different directions with this too. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you were saying that, man, I want to get to the second part, but
you opened up a whole lot of stuff.
I know, because, yeah, seriously. So the first thing is when they were talking to you sometimes on a daily basis, because I think that what you're saying is that if you want to motivate and inspire and encourage your team, a lot of it just comes down to good old-fashioned spending quality time with each person. And that's what they were doing. I wouldn't say that that's like a regular mentoring call. It's just more like being a friend, right? I mean, they were being there for you the whole time. Now, the other thing is did you...
servant leader.
Yeah, when you were... Yeah, servant leader. Yeah, great concept there. So when they were talking to you in the beginning, let's say before you hit silver, like when you're trying to get to elite maybe, what were the conversations? Were they trying to talk you into doing it, or were you already committed and you just needed someone to kind of hold your hand through that period?
I already committed when I got the kit.
So you were all in.
And they knew it.
Yeah.
From the beginning. It was definitely more of holding my hand through the journey.
Gotcha. So
and what did that mean?
The reason I asked that, Mary, is because I think sometimes we feel like we have to keep talking people into it. Like we keep calling them to say, hey, remember that this is what you wanted to do. But I don't think that's what you're describing.
No.
So what was it?
Not at all. It was more of just naturally getting frustrated with myself, knowing that I could do more, and then I mentally, I mean, it's just a mental game every day. Like you say, if it's a choice to do the 631 every day, you don't have to do it every day. No one's holding your hand and taking you along, holding you on top of their shoulders and dragging you along. It's not that. And if you feel like there are people in your organization that are that type of people, you have to let them go. You just have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They have to be committed themselves. It's more of holding their hand, not dragging. Holding
Right.
their hand and just being there and being a servant leader. And naturally, if you love doTERRA, and if you love the journey of financial freedom, you're going to speak from your heart and you're going to act from your heart. And so that's what I'm saying with no candy coating, holding your hand, don't drag, and just naturally care for people.
Right. So it's helping those that want to be helped, and it's you know what I mean. It's well, as Rod would say, it's working with those that move towards you. You were moving towards Alonto and Desiree. You were committed to the process, but you needed some hand holding throughout it to help you really kind of overcome all of the mental garbage that all of us deal with when we're starting this journey.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm, even though I've hit diamond rank, I still need my hand to be held. It's hard, life is hard. But you're always learning. You're always learning in every single rank that you achieve.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask her, Court. You're good.
Thank you. So the other thing that you brought up was recognizing that they recognize the gift that you have. I'm curious then, so when you recognize or see someone with a gift or a talent, like how do you go about letting them know about that, right? Like what are you doing to help others see that in themselves? And how did they do that with you? Because I think that's really important sometimes, Like I just got this text from a new leader I just enrolled last week. And she's like, she's so cute about it. She's like, do you regret this yet? You still believe in me? And I think we feel that way in the beginning, right? It's like, because we sometimes don't have that belief in ourselves when we first get started. So we do rely so heavy on our upline, right? And so I'm just talking to her about, I don't regret it all. And this is what I see in you. But how does that happen with you? And how do you do that with your team to help others recognize and see their gifts and talents?
Well, to be honest with you, I speak so raw and honest now. If I see someone who's really struggling and they're having all of these excuses left and right, and they don't have the actions that are necessary to grow, I tell them, if you give me your goals and your 90-day, your goal, your yearly goal, going over the fast track planner, and I tell them, it's going to be a minimum of these many classes every month. If you can't do that, then, this is what's going to happen. The momentum isn't going to be there. It will be a slower process to achieve your goals. You can kind of see it, what's happening with them. And if they don't have that, then I'm not going to say, oh, you got to keep going. I feel like that's more dragging. And so I'm like a mother. I will give them, constructive criticism and let them know what's happening. If they're tripping up, I'll let them know. I'll say, look, listen, this is happening. If you wanted to achieve silver, then, let's do it. Let's get force the calendar on them and open up the dates and be there for them. So the worst case scenario, they quit, right? And you just have to let them go and you move on. Now, in the other case, if there's somebody who's saying, I'm frustrated today and I'm doing this and all the actions, and you just kind of sit there and you look at what could be tweaked a bit, because it could be just a simple tweak, just a simple follow-up dialogue or something that they're missing. It could be something as simple as that, and they could become successful in signing people up. So you're just kind of looking and listening again, analyzing what's happening within their process, and and help them along. And this is when I tell them, you have got a gift, and just tell them, this is what's happening. Yes, you're frustrated. This and this is happening. However, I know you have it in you. I know that this is your gift of, let's say, sharing. Or I went to your class and you nailed the class. Like you followed the bullet points and you were great on timing, and you talk to them truthfully from your heart. What's going on? What's effective? And really give them the put-ups that they need to keep going. If that's what their journey is, though, if this is what they want, if they're doing the actions, then by God, tell them, tell them every time you talk to them, and just be there.
Yeah. I think that's really important because it's not a matter of just saying nice things, like paying someone a compliment when you're talking to them, right? But you're getting real with them, and you're getting vulnerable and authentic and genuine. And sometimes, because of how much you love them and how raw and authentic you are with them, sometimes it's not going to be the loveliest thing that comes out of your mouth, right? But it's real.
Right.
And that can be equally as motivating for people, right? Because sometimes we need that little kick. We need that little push, to remind us that we're going off course, right? So it's more than just a compliment. It does need to be authentic and genuine. And sometimes that comes down to a little bit of tough love,
Absolutely. And I appreciated that the most with Deborah and Alonso. They're able to tell me constructive criticism, and I would be able to take it and be motivated by it rather than being beaten down by it. So.
Right. Thank you. All right, and then finally, let's just go over events then. So that was the other thing you brought up was events, that helps create a friendship, some bonds to strengthen everybody. So what is it? Well, what happens at events that does that for people? Like, in what type of events?
Well, I believe, if people come together, like-minded individuals that have the same drive and more than often the same why, there is magic that happens in that room. Just like how it is with convention. You can't even explain the synergy that happens in that room amongst 30,000 people. It's crazy. You can feel the energy, and you feed off of that, and it's just love, like all around. You just feel it. You just feel a big, moosey, emotional love ball all around that whole entire week. It's great. So you get that together. It's like the motivation happens and the action happens naturally. So that's what I try to do for my team, is to just hold events, whether it be we're doing a monthly thing now. It's called Oilaholics Group. A meeting every month. We just get together. I know, it's great. We come together and we discuss just a little bit of things. For example, the proper dilution. People who can come together. It could be the members, new members, or it can be builders. Either way, we hold it together for each other. People can meet new faces, and then we discuss oils, which, of course, oils on the body and makes everyone happy. So we do that, and then we have a book club that's starting. So people who are mentally needing some support, we have books that we're going to be reading together. And so every month we'll come together. But then quarterly is when new faces come on. I'm not the leader anymore. I take a seat back and have the blue diamonds and above come and hold awesome events. And that's really what has helped us grow
Courtney.
the team together.
Courtney?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have some hands that are raised here. But I think, but just to kind of support what Mary is saying here, Rod once told me when we were, he goes, I always know who the diamonds are going to be. And they are the ones that are organizing events. And the reason why is because events keep your team motivated and inspired and engaged. And so there were a whole bunch of diamonds that joined the call right after you asked the mastermind topic. So I'm going to just repeat that for them. And then Jaclyn Child has her hand raised. So the topic is how do you keep your team motivated, inspired, and engaged? What do you do that's working? We just heard some awesome ideas from Mary Sisti and Jaclyn. Go ahead, your line is unmuted.
So the reason for events, Courtney, I always think of your story that you shared at the leadership retreat in 2015 where you hit diamond and then you went to your Thanksgiving celebration and everyone was saying something they were thankful for and you said, I hit diamond in Hotel. And everyone's like, oh,
I mean, kick you down, bring you down.
Yeah, and then they said kind of unkind things about it, like, oh, now you can be with your family more. And that's always the story I think of when people wonder about why would we need events? Why do we need to get together? Because of that. Like, you accomplished something huge. That's like what's the diamond? Like the top 4% of the company. It takes major work dedication. Like all of us know what it takes. And so that's a huge thing that we celebrate. And the company celebrates. And so that's, like, I always think of your story where you made this huge accomplishment and no one appreciated it and actually kind of dismissed it or made you feel worse as a result of you announcing it to your family. And so that's why, because we need people to celebrate our absolute hard work. It's all about, everyone keeps saying like-minded people, but seriously, like that story I share that story to people all the time because that's what it's about. And when I have leaders, like I've seen leaders who are awesome at doing the 6-year-1 as far as getting people taught and everything, and they don't value events, and they keep wondering why they're not growing and getting leaders. Well, it's because they're not going to events, because that's how you find your leaders. That's where you find camaraderie and excitement. And, and if I don't see them showing up to the monthly trainings, that means they're not bringing anyone with them. And that means that the place where we get re-energized and rejuvenated, they're not going. And so, Sure, teaching classes and stuff are great, wonderful, I love it. But in order to, be able to look past that person that maybe I spent hours with who never bought, I need events. So,
right. Now I want to play devil's advocate for just a minute here because, as I think about this topic, that was like the number one thing that came to me too. I'm very passionate about events and the purpose of them and why we should do them. And I'm a huge advocate for this, right? But the thing is people quit going to events, right? And so I got thinking about this. I'm like, well, why then, if all this great stuff happens at events, do people stop going? Why do they stop engaging? And so then I got thinking about it. I'm like, all right, what was my first major event like? Okay, and I started thinking about my first convention, right? And I remember, I was telling stuff like, I want to meet this Rod Richardson. I want to meet this Natalie Goddard. I was so excited to meet these people I'd heard all these incredible stories about, right? And then the company, and you see the owners, and David Osmond was there. It's just like, oh, this amazing stuff, right? I walked away total spiritual, physical, mental high from convention, right? It was fantastic. But I loved it so much. It was like, I'm always going to go. I'm never going to quit going. And I'm going to bring millions of people with me next year, right? Just walked away totally on fire, right? So then the next year comes around. I go to conventions. And I didn't feel the same way. I'm not going to lie. I have never been to a convention that I have felt the same way I did that very first time, right? And so I think sometimes the reason why we stop going to events is because maybe it didn't meet our expectation. Maybe we need to relook at the purpose of the event, right? Because I still love conventions. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. I still go. I still am a huge advocate for it. But it was never the same as that first experience, right? Just as the first time that you have an oil experience, it's like all of a sudden the shock eventually wears off. You're like, oh yeah, I knew it was going to work, right? and so, for me, when I look at events now and I go, okay, so why do I still go then? If I don't get that same, type of high or, I'm not learning the same types of things, why do I still go? Why do I continue to show up on this call or any type of event, right? And it dawned on me, one of the reasons why I do that is because what inspires me now is different than what inspired me in the beginning. And I remember when I lived in Idaho, Rod Richardson came out and we did a business training, and we do monthly business trainings. But at this particular one, he was there, and I was in the back taking pictures. And I remember just sitting back, this room filled of 100 people, and he played the shirtless dancer, if anyone has seen that. And the next thing I know, I believe it was Janet Marquez, jumps up and she starts dancing with Rod, and Rod's dancing. And pretty soon the entire room is dancing. I remember just sitting back taking pictures of this, feeling inspired. Because what inspired me was that people were there, finally got it. I saw them go, oh my word, I know what I need to do now. And that's inspiring for me, right?
Yep.
So I think sometimes we have to look at that, and that's why you continue to go. I don't go because I need to understand CPTG. I got that. But I go because there's other things I'm going to learn, other things that are going to inspire me there, right? By that builder finally committing, right? There's nothing more exciting to me than seeing a builder commit.
Hey,
That's fantastic.
Courtney, I totally agree with what you're saying, and I think that one of the reasons people stop attending events is because we need to do better at putting on good events. We need to take it very seriously. Like when you're asked to speak at a monthly training, put some serious time and effort into making sure that is going to serve the people that are there. And you know what I mean? Right. And so make sure that the events are as good as you can make them. They don't have to be any better than as good as you can do. But do your best. And the other thing is you are dead on when it comes to going to convention. I mean, this last convention, I was like, it's okay. But then I had people on my team that were coming that had never been before. They're like, this is the most life-changing moment of my life, and I was just kind of going, oh, what do you know? And so I bought tickets for convention this year, and eventually, I mean, the topic of the call is how do you inspire and motivate and your team? Well, I'm going to convention not because I'm there to serve my team. I'm going there to be there for them, and sometimes, that's what keeps us going. Now, David Ellis has his hand raised, and also we had Wendy. I thought Wendy had her hand raised too. But anyway, so David Ellis has his hand raised.
David.
So, and then Wendy, if you're still on the call, hit *5* and I can find you again.
Hey, Seth, can you reread the question the way you read it at the beginning?
Yeah.
What the original question was?
Sure. How do you keep my team motivated, inspired, and engaged?
So the answer is every day you stand up and you look in the mirror. When you're getting ready, you look in the mirror because your team is going to do what you do. They're going to hear what you say. They're going to do what they see. And so the way you motivate and inspire your team, the way you keep them motivated and inspired is you stay motivated and inspired yourself. And if you are, they will be. Because we've seen it in our organization in times when we got, we were engaged in, we were moving or we were doing other things or having babies or whatever it was we were doing. And our focus on what we were going to do, what our next rank was, which oftentimes that's looked at as, oh, you're being selfish, right? You're focused on your next rank. But what you have to understand is that if every one of us knew exactly where we were going to be and what our next rank was going to be, that is the very best way to inspire your team. Because Seth, you actually said at the very beginning, the greatest thing you can do to inspire your team is to hit a rank. Because when they see you do it, they have a whole different level of belief than when they hear about somebody having done it. Because they know you, right? They know that you put your pants on one leg at a time, and they know that you have your issues and your baggage, and they know we all do. Everybody does. And so when people that are closest to you, when they see you achieving, they see what you're dealing with, and they're like, wow, he or she could do it. They just did it. There's nothing more motivating and inspiring than showing your team. And so you have to know what your next rank is. You have to know what your next achievement is. You have to know what your goal for the end of the month is for enrollments. We had that happen with us. We the last time frame, it's been a while, we got so focused on teaching and mentoring and motivating and all those things, we look back and we're like, man, I'm trying to remember the last time we enrolled somebody. And we looked back and we actually had our account rep pull it up, and we had enrolled last year, and it's a confession, and I'll put it out here because I don't think that we're the only ones struggling with this. We looked at that, and we enrolled 8 people last year. And the reason we enrolled 8 people is because Julianne set a goal to get the rose, and she had never gotten the rose. And the whole time we've been involved in doTERRA for 4 years, and we've never gotten the rose. We've gotten the jasmine a few times, never gotten the rose. So Julianne said, I'm going to get the rose. So she hosted 3 classes. She enrolled 8 people. She got the rose. And that was it. That was all we enrolled in. So we started looking down at some of our leaders, and we realized, you know what? Not to throw any of our leaders under the bus, but they're totally the same thing. We weren't enrolling. We were helping and teaching and training and motivating and talking through all the ways that people go do things. But the reality is that only gets you to a certain point, and eventually people are going to do what they see, not what they hear you say. And so, we recognized this a few months ago, and we went out and said, okay, you know what? We have to do what we say they need to do. And so we put an emphasis on it, and we started hosting our own classes, and we started having no-shows. We started having all those things that we all deal with, right? So even Blue Diamonds, you guys, have no-shows. And you know what? It's no different, but we started doing it again. And we started realizing if we're going to host a class, I'm tired of no-shows. I'm going to start contacting more people. And I'm going to start getting out, and I'm going to start doing it again. Yeah. Just like I'm telling everybody else. And it has been so inspiring. I can't tell you how inspiring it has been for me and for my wife to go out and to enroll new people. Because new people are the lifeblood of motivating and inspiring in your business. If you want to know how to inspire a builder, show them how to go enroll someone. And when they go enroll someone and they see that excitement again for the first time, Courtney talks about going to a convention over and over again, and it's not the same the next time. Well, no crap, it's not the same. You've seen it already. but this is the thing. Your new people have it. It's brand new. The first time they put an oil on at a class and they get their bell rung a little bit with this. Wow, this thing really works. And holy cow, my respiratory functioning is so much improved. and they have that experience. And they're like, this is incredible. This is legal. This is awesome, and I can buy it from you. Holy cow! And you have to realize there's such an excitement and a motivation that comes when we do that. And so if you're not inspired and you're not motivated in your business, go enroll somebody.
Yep.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
Go enroll somebody, and you'll see it again through their eyes.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
I love that you brought it. No, I love that you brought it up because I think so much of it really does. 100% of it is our own responsibility, right? At what point are you going to say, I'm going to motivate myself every day because of why I'm doing this? Because I care about my children, my life, the goals that I have. At what point, do you just take 100% responsibility of that and stop saying, well, my upline's not motivating me, so I'm not going to do anything today, right? It really does come down to yourself. So I love that you brought this up. A few questions for you, though, okay? So what do you do every day to motivate yourself to do it? Because this is ultimately, you hit it dead on the nail. This is ultimately where it starts. If you can't motivate yourself, you're sure as heck not going to go turn around and motivate your team, right? So what do you do personally every day to motivate yourself? And then I have another question for you after that.
Okay, I love it because you guys, this is fresh, and I'm talking to you from a very raw space because we recognize we weren't doing it. And our level of motivation in this business had waned, right? We started questioning, are we going to be able to hit Presidential Diamond? We were in that space. So if you guys are there, we were, right? And what we did is what do we tell our people? This is what we did. What do we tell our people when they're just getting started and we're trying to build their motivation, their belief in the business? Is go host a class, go schedule a class. So what do we do every day? Schedule a class. You make sure you have personally a class scheduled on the books. When you do, it makes your walk different. You're sitting there going, okay, I've got a class next Thursday. Who am I going to get there? And so now when I go and I get my hair cut, or when I go down and I go to the bank, or when we're at Costco, and hopefully she's on this call. One of our most inspiring builders right now is a gal that my wife met at Costco 2 weeks ago. And she actually came up to my wife because my wife she put it out there. She's like, I'm in a space. I'm recruiting. I'm enrolling. I am finding new people that want this in their lives. And this gal walks up to her in Costco and compliments her on her children. She's like, man, you got beautiful children. They're so behaved. How did you do that? And they just start talking. And of course, how does she do it? Well, she oils them up. There's behavior oils, right? And so it comes up, and she's like, what is that? And I want to do it. And it comes. I mean, she's got a tremendous need in her life. Her husband works overseas because that's how they provide for their family, and she wants to bring him home. There's no other reason about it. She wants to bring him home. She is so motivated. She is so inspired. She is not gifted and talented. She's not an orator. She's not any of those things. None of us are, right? What she's good at is she has a huge desire. And so what do we tell her? Okay, what do you do? Schedule a class. Just schedule a class. And this gal came and she brought a friend. And the gal enrolled and the friend enrolled. And so all of a sudden now this gal's a builder. And she said, I want to build. And what's motivated and inspired this gal so much is because she has somebody below her who wants to build. And so if you're not inspired and you're not motivated, go find somebody that wants to build. And that just happens to just enrolling. So in answer to your question, what do you do? Every day, schedule a class.
Schedule a class.
Like you mean like make sure that one's on the calendar
around you. It does. When you are out looking for that, you're throwing that out there. It shifts it. I recently started doing the same thing, and Seth had talked about this. Oh shoot, I don't remember if it was on a call or where it was. That Kelly Anderson had come up to him and asked how many people he was going to enroll in a month, and I believe the number he threw out there was 10. And so when I heard this from Seth, I'm going, well, freaking heck, if he's going to enroll 10, I want to enroll 10. I mean, there's a little bit of a competitiveness in me, right? And so then I was like, well, if he can do this, I can still do this. And so now I'm on a personal mission to enroll 10 this month. And so it really is so funny that and so every day it's the same thing. I'm going, okay, when's my next class? Who am I talking to? And I'm moving in 5 days, and I'm still having a class and, going through this. And so it really does change everything around you. It can be that simple as just knowing when that next class is that you're having, and that it's in the immediate future. It's not in 2 months or down the road, So I love that you brought that up. One other thing that you mentioned, that starting with you have to be that example for your team. How does your team see that, though? I mean, one way they see it is in rank advancements, but what are you doing every day to be that example for your team that actually see it and not just hear it?
That's a great question, because I thought about that myself. When we had made this determination, and we recognized the fact that we had to get out and we had to start doing what we were telling other people to do. And we thought, well, how are they going to feel? How are they going to know that? Because are they going to see that as just, oh, well, they don't care about me. They're just focused on themselves. Or, because there's that, right? There's that, well, is there enough time to go around? And what's really interesting is we just decided this is what has to happen. For us, I remember we sat there and I heard Haley Hobson sit up there in one of the panels at leadership and say, no one is going to hold my business hostage. And I sat there and thought, how many of us are sitting there waiting thinking, well, man, I can't advance rank because so-and-so isn't committed enough. Okay, so what? Go find somebody else. And we sat there and realized, okay, for us, we're sitting there, man, so-and-so just isn't moving fast enough when we're waiting for them to do it. And so we sit there and we think, well, maybe if we just tell them how fast they need to move, that'll do it. And maybe if we get really, really supportive and just talking to them every week, maybe even every day, and just tell them all the things that they need to do, that they'll do it. And it's just simply not what happens. And so what we did is we just committed that this is what we're going to do. And Julianne set a goal. She's going to recruit 10 people this month. And so first she tells me that, or actually I think hers was 15. And so I said, well, I'm gonna do the same thing. And so we're out there looking, we're doing it. And what's really interesting is then all of a sudden Janet calls me up, and she starts talking about this or that. issue in her business. And what's amazing is I just simply share with her what we're doing in ours. And I share with her how excited we are about what's happening and how excited we are. We've got so many builders, new builders coming on right now that we're just trying to figure out how do we work with them all, and how do we keep them all moving at the pace that they're wanting to, right? And that's a great challenge to have. And I started sharing with her what's going on, and she felt that. And all of a sudden, this discussion moved, and it just changed. And what's really cool is when you're living it, you don't have to tell anybody. They see it and they feel it. They feel it when you call up your leader, and you've got an issue, and maybe you're even calling up, and she wasn't, by the way, but let's say somebody's calling up to dump on them, and you feel the excitement of that leader, you stop dumping because you realize you're not going to get them down, and it's falling on deaf ears because really they could care less because they're excited about what's going on in their business, and they just want you to move you forward. And all of a sudden that conversation changes. It changes because it has to, because the energy is different. And when you're just out doing it, all I can tell you is when you're doing it, people feel it.
Yeah.
Right.
They feel it.
Hey,
you don't
Court.
have to tell them. They feel it. And you don't have to sit there, hey, by the way, guess what I did this month? Are you going to do that? You don't have to. They feel it. They're like, wow, there's something's going. I want to be a part of that. And they just do. They just feel it. So just go out and do it. And when you do it, they will see it. They'll know it. And they'll want to be a part of it.
Hey, Courtney.
Thank you. Love it, David. Any other comments with this?
Yeah, Courtney. So we have some hands raised, and I wanted to before what David is describing is a quote that I love that Roger Anthony taught me. He said that it's one thing to teach a certain thing, it's another to live it, but the greatest by far is to so thoroughly be it that your very presence does the teaching. And I think that.
Can I get an amen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Okay.
That's
So
awesome.
we've got.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so we've got 11 minutes left on the call. We have a bunch of hands, including some blue diamonds on the call. So I'm excited to hear it. So we have Wendy. Then we have Kim Allen. We have Katie Glasgow and Brianna Hess. And then we even have more after that, if we can. So we've got 11 minutes to get it in. So go ahead, Wendy, and then Kim Allen, and then Katie.
All right, Wendy, you there?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead, Wendy.
All right. Okay, well, I'm not a diamond. I actually just hit a lead, but what inspires me is the fact that my diamond leader, who isn't even my direct upline, takes the time to coach me, or the time to have a mentor call, or if I have a question, she's like, let's get on the phone tonight and chat. So just the fact that she takes the time to talk to me, even though my direct upline does the same, it's just nice to know that your diamonds have time for you. And that's, to me, probably more inspiring than about anything else.
Right. Thank you, Wendy. Fabulous. It's a very, very good point that when you take the time to invest in your team, they're going to feel that, and that will inspire them. I appreciate that. And there's a lot of different ways that we can invest in our team, but time with people is, I think, by far one of the best ways. I appreciate you saying that. All right. Kim Allen next.
Kim's next, yeah.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
This has been a great call. I love it. I think when people are afraid of doing something, they're afraid of losing love, safety, and belonging. So creating that culture is really huge. I've got so many notes of what I wanted to say when I raised my hand. But I love the most inspiring thing is the example and of when you look in the mirror. I mean, if you're saying my team's not enrolling, well, are you enrolling? Like David was saying, I think that's the biggest thing because we started, doing that ourselves and getting out there. And I'm going out and giving samples every day this week I have so far. And it's been awesome. And then we have a group team call that we do weekly now with certain people. And that creates a sense of belonging. And then we all share our experiences and do kind of our own little mentoring group together. And that creates that culture. And I think that it's fun to share with the team that way. That was one of my kind of a different thought is we have a recognition call and then do a prize for like the top, and roller and things like that. That kind of brings people together and create a different culture. And then we also are doing, just with certain members, a Zoom call each week so we can see each other face to face because they don't live by a lot of our leaders. So that's created a sense of belonging and trust within like our sideline teams, and it's been really fun for them to share the experiences and see that there's other people in the journey at their same stage and may have the same questions, where we're also spread out. That really helps bring people together and to motivate them and inspire that other people are doing it, you know, and I'm getting out there and sharing oil every day. So I'm doing it too. You know, like David said, that actually inspired me, Julianne, that I want to go earn the rose this year because I haven't earned it. Like just sharing the story of that is like, well, I want to go do that. You know, I shared a sample yesterday at the store with the lady who helped me pick out some clothes, and I made sure to talk to her 3 different times so that I could say, I really enjoyed your service today. I'd love to talk to you more. We're looking for people like you in our business. You know, I just created an opportunity, and then I went to the library today, and I met a really great woman that was just visiting in town with 5 kids. We got to talking for 20 minutes, and I shared a sample with her. She had used oils but isn't enrolled in Wants a Family Kit, you know, and we just got to talking. And, you know, so when I'm out there doing it, it's really exciting. Like you're getting in the grind again, and you show people I'm there with you. So I think the example is the biggest part of it, and just getting in there and showing your team that you're doing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The other thing that I like that you said was, you know, to go share your story with people. It's amazing, you know, how much of an inspiration you could be to people, and we don't think that we are, but I think to me it's very humbling, you know, when I find out, you know, like Jaclyn today brought something up that she shares my story out there, and I'm like, wow, that inspired people, you know what I mean? And so I think it is important for us to share our story and our journey, our struggles, everything we go through, because people will relate to us and they'll understand that, and that does keep them going and inspire them that, you know, you've been there too when you get it and understand it and are still in the grind with them. Thank you. All right, Katie, Glasgow.
All right, I'm here and I'm muted. First of all, I want to say this is just an amazing call. I loved everything on it. Most of what I was going to say has already been taken, but I wanted to expand upon a couple things. I love what David was saying about just getting out there and doing this. David and I actually had this conversation during one of the sessions at Leadership, I think, about how, you know, we can't get frustrated with our teams if we're not doing what we're asking them to do. And I've done this exact same thing that David and Julianne are doing. I got out there and I'm inviting to classes and I'm hosting my own classes. And yeah, I'm having no-show classes and one person into class just like everybody else, starting over again. But I realized that I was taking on that managerial role too much. And then I was expecting everybody else to run my business for me. And I need to get out there and I need to do it myself. So some of the things that I've done with my team, because the reality is that, you know, I want to get out there and do it myself, but a lot of my time was being taken by mentoring and things like that, which I love and I have a passion for. But I needed to figure out what I could do to still inspire the masses, inspire everybody under me, but maximize my time at the same time so that I had activities to do. And so I do actually 2 different Zoom calls, like Kim was talking about. And what a Zoom call is, if you're not familiar with that, it's basically a video call, okay? And so anybody can have access to Zoom. It's actually pretty inexpensive to have Zoom, but I have Zoom now. And so I do a couple things for the team. Each week on Monday, we have what I call a foundations call. And what the foundations call is, it's a space where brand new people can come, or people that are just getting started, and they can ask their questions. It's open to anybody on the team, and they can ask business building questions, okay? We usually do 15 to 20-minute topic. We might give announcements, let everybody know like what's going on in doTERRA world, just to keep them connected. And then like last week, I did a little presentation on components of a kick butt class, right? Like just, you know, what else do you need to do to have a great class besides reading off the tear pad? You know, like have a diffuser going, be on time, just different topics like that. So we'll do that every week. And then the last part of the call is open to anybody that just has questions, because a lot of the questions that we have as a new person, they're the same for everybody. And so instead of me answering the same question 20 times during the week, I can come together, and on that call, everybody can see each other, and we have people in California and Georgia and Pennsylvania. We have people everywhere joining that call, and so we can all kind of connect as a group, and we get to know each other, and we get to see each other's faces. And then I do a more advanced call for somebody that's already hit, usually like Premier and above, sometimes a few elites if they're working really hard. And then we do more advanced topics on that call, and we do that on Monday night. So I have those two spaces open where everybody can come and we can inspire each other in a group, no matter where we're at. And it is just, I've been doing that since last August, and it's just created this community on our team that is amazing because everybody can go to each other for inspiration now too. It's not just me inspiring everybody, it's everybody inspiring. And we can reach, as leaders, we can reach down as far as somebody wants to, as far as our organization goes. And so that's been super effective on our team. The other thing about it that I really love, and you wouldn't think this is inspiring, but I've had so many people tell me that it is that I let them see me real on that call. Because I think that sometimes as we go to a class and we've got, we're all put together, or we go to convention, or we go and we do an event and we're all put together and they don't get to see how we live. And so people think to ourselves, well, I can't do what she's doing because, I just can't juggle the kids and I can't juggle this and that. And on that call, they get to see me with my dog running around in the background and my son coming to ask me if he can have a fruit snack because he knows that mommy's on the phone and, I'm at my weakest point and he's going to be able to eat junk. So I can just, he'll go in another room. That's like every single call. He's like, Mom, can I have a fruit snack? I'm like, woo. So, and they see me with my baby and they see me like some days I don't have makeup on and I don't care what people look like on the call. I'm like, I just want you on the call. But it has actually been really inspiring for the team to see, like, we're real people with real lives. And if she can do it, juggling all that craziness that she's got in her house, then I can do it too. I mean, last week I was in my husband's basement office that's not even finished. It's like cement walls. And everybody's like, where are you at? I'm like, well, my house is really crazy today, and this is the only quiet space. So this is where you get me today. But, no, it's been really, really good to do those because it's really brought this sense of community on the team. And then it's a way for us to just inspire everybody. So it's easy. It's 2 hours of my week, but I can reach hundreds of people and we record the call and it's available for people to listen to. So that it's been really, really inspiring for a lot of people.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie. I love that. And I love that you're just getting real and vulnerable with people because I think that is what can inspire people is that they can relate to you, right? You're not like, you're superhuman, but you're not superhero.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And,
love it.
And the other thing too is what I've been a lot more honest with lately with people is letting them know that it was not always easy for me. There were times that it was a struggle. There's times that it's still a struggle. It's not like what they're going through is not something I didn't ever go through. And I think sometimes if you try to hold that back, like, oh my gosh, I've got this little perfect life, like that's what's not inspiring to people because then they feel it's not something that they can do. So
it's attainable, right?
Yeah, just be real and be raw.
Hey,
love it.
Courtney.
All right, Brianna, we're going to end with you.
Yeah.
Wait,
Brianna.
go ahead.
I was just going to say that Brianna's next, and I also wanted to say, so thanks, Katie, for holding that out on us since August. Anyway, go ahead, Brianna.
All right, so I'll make it quick because I know we're running out of time, but I've loved this call. So there's a couple different thoughts, a couple different things that we've been doing, but a couple things that we've also seen in our team on ways to things that can actually help people lose motivation. And I think it's important to share. That way we know kind of what to do and what not to do when you're in a leadership position. So for us, our team's been growing a lot bigger than we ever had possibly imagined. And so there's a lot of people on our team that we don't know and don't know us and are part of our Facebook group, but really it's a lot easier to be motivated when you know the people and you can kind of see what they are doing with their lives and what they're accomplishing. And so one way that we've helped people kind of get to know us a little bit better and to build that relationship, which we've seen a huge improvement in. It's amazing people that we talk to and the way that it inspires them. But we've been doing videos on our Facebook page. And sometimes it's just, hey, we see what you guys are doing. We appreciate it. We're out there doing those things with you.
or sometimes it's inspirational thoughts. So we started doing that, and we also have a Periscope that we go on, and it's not necessarily planned. We try and do it when we can, but it's amazing how quick or how easy it is for people to just get on, and it's not for everyone, but I noticed that there's a lot of people that are on there on a regular basis or go back and watch it, within those 24 hours, and who are saying, you know what, I love watching you. I love hearing that. It really helps to, helps me get over some things that I've been going through or knowing that I can do it, and just giving them that little bit of inspiration and motivation to go on or to even try. And so those are some things that we found that I had kind of stood back, I kind of waited and not done anything with for a while, even though I'd been feeling that it was a need in our organization. And I'd seen it in different environments, and I liked the outcome that it had. And so we decided we were going to do it for our team, and we've absolutely loved it. So I would definitely encourage that, just so that those people who don't know you yet, they get a chance to know you. They get a chance to see you and to know that you are real, like Katie was saying. And then it's not always work. Sometimes it's fun and games, but when it's work, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's not. But I don't know, it's worth it all the way. So those are some things that we do, in addition to a lot of the other things that have been mentioned. But some things that I've seen in our organization as we've traveled around is we want people to look at us in these leadership roles, but yet there's times when we go and we're meeting with these organizations, and the leader of the group is stressing a lot of the concerns that they have in their organization right there in front of their downline. And they're not necessarily talking about their downline, but they're talking about their frustrations and the struggles that they're having. And it's okay to have those struggles, but sometimes the people in your organization aren't quite ready to hear those things. They're not quite ready. They've not been there yet. And that can actually, take the wind out of someone's sail and let them decide, you know what, that's really not what I want in my life right now, so I'm really not going to do that. So I think it's important that when you have those stress and those concerns, that we go to our upline. We don't go to our downline with that or, stress those concerns in front of our downline, because our downline, they're not there yet. So I just think it's important for us to make sure that when we're there and we're with our downline, that we are coming from a place and we're trying to be as motivating as possible and be real at the same time. But there's a time and a place to address those things.
Right. Thank you, Brianna. And thank you, everyone, for sharing on the call today. It's really been powerful. And if I could just summarize it as best as I could here, how you motivate and inspire and keep your team engaged. Number one is just it starts with you. If you wake up every day and you keep yourself going, that is going to start duplicating down, and that you are the best example for everyone else to follow. And secondly, it's just going to be engaged with your team. You want them to engage, be engaged with them, connect with them, invest your time with them, do these calls with them, teach them, and just get real and vulnerable and create those friendships and those cultures with them. That's really what we've been learning today in a lot of different ways. And I'm grateful for this call. I don't know about the rest of you, but I definitely have learned some things on here and excited to implement it myself. I wish each of you a very happy and successful week. And I thank you again for everyone that participated and joined us today. Have a great week.